Imagine a school without walls. A school with a staff of thousands, where the pupils were spread out over an entire county. A school where expectations for children were too low and disengagement was very common. Sue Dean is the head teacher of Nottinghamshire's concept of a virtual school for its 500 looked after children, where pupils are placed in virtual year groups.
The expectations for looked after children tend to be a bit low, well, very low really. Their performance to date has been well below that of the general population, and this further compounds their disadvantage when they go into later life for all sorts of reasons. And what we need to do, what part of my work is, and the roles and the designated teachers, is to raise those expectations, to be ambitious for our young people and to ensure that they're succeeding in whatever area they feel they can achieve in. The designated teacher can be a real support to the young person in care in the school. It should be a person who knows them, knows their history without having to know all the grisly details, and has sympathy and empathy for the young person, can act as an advocate for them in the school, fight in their corner and support them when things are being difficult, and also celebrate with them when things are going really, really well.
Tuxford School in Nottinghamshire has 6 looked after children on roll and unusually 2 members of staff to oversee them. Hilary Madden is the designated teacher and assistant head, and Cheryl Stollery supports Hilary as the named person dedicated to looked after pupils. Whilst Hilary has oversight and deals with the education and behavioural aspect of looked afters, Cheryl is dedicated to working with their social workers and outside agencies.
School for looked after children can be extremely daunting. Sometimes there's a real clash of from their home situation to what they're experiencing in school. It can be a clash because they've been through so much prior to coming to school that for them this is just another school, another institution, somebody else that's giving them instructions, telling them what to do.
With looked after children 10 times more likely to be excluded from school, affirmative action needs to be taken to keep looked after pupils engaged with education. Tuxford has an inclusion unit that is dedicated to providing an alternative curriculum for both looked after and non-looked after children. Tuxford has great success with keeping looked afters on the school roll by offering interesting vocational packages, such as survival skills.
Right, let's tidy that back end up, yeah? And then we'll start again, but this time we'll just put leaf mould on.
Looked after children tend to disengage because for them education doesn't really figure significantly in their lives. Thankfully education now is going towards personalised learning. That's exactly what probably I've been fighting for years, because basically every child needs what's appropriate for their needs.
Right, I think what we'll do, we'll get some sticks, we've got plenty of sticks knocking around, and we'll just make this a nice flat platform. Right, and what we'll do next, we've got some dry twigs,
Silver birch.
And we've got some silver birch, yeah.
Sounds a bit wishful thinking, but we should be able to give an extremely personalised day and a personalised curriculum, enabling them to have their basic education, but also looking to where's ultimately they're going to go. That can be within the classroom, it can be within a special area. We've got our student support centre. It can in some cases be at home if that youngster needs some input. We're willing to engage with that youngster wherever that is. That's in the learning. There's then the other activities, life skill opportunities, whether it's just life skills in a kitchen or life skills in a workplace, college opportunities, anger management courses, social skill building courses, anything that young person needs. It really is needs led.
Josh is a Year 11 looked after pupil at Tuxford and is on an alternative curriculum based out of school.
For the last 2 years, I would say that Josh has steadily been getting more and more disengaged with school and education. No matter what you put towards them, no matter any of you looked after children, you have to always be there to offer something different.
Josh, what we're going to do today is all we're going to do is go through this English paper. You've got an English exam coming up in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, yeah? I don't think you've ever done a practice English paper, have you, really? Which we need to keep working through.
The tutor, Kerry, she comes to my house and works with me on Thursday mornings, and it's working because, like, I'm not with everyone else and everyone's not surrounding me and disturbing me and stuff, so it's working. It's doing well.
How many points would you put down there?
5.
Yeah, spot on. That's 5 marks. Each point. If you only put 4 down, you'll get 4 marks.
I prefer doing that because, like, when I'm in my lessons, I get disturbed because my mates encourage me to do one thing and I do the other thing. You know what I mean? It's really hard. He's trying to help them get jobs and earn money and stuff, and they're off the streets and they've got no qualification.
That's right. Yeah, they're sort of saying, why is he doing it? Yeah. Is there an ulterior motive? Is he doing it for himself? Or is he doing it for the kids?
Yeah.
That's it.
When Josh came to first live with us, he was very wild. He'd run away from school many times, and that took a lot of training to stop that. But eventually he did settle down.
The school.
I think for a child in foster care, it can be quite intimidating because they've missed a lot of schooling. They don't really know what they're doing, and that in itself makes them feel insecure.
His first TV series.
Mrs. Madden and Mrs. Stoller have been very important for Josh. We couldn't have completed this without their cooperation, and even outside school they've often called and made sure that he's okay and brought him home, so it's been very important. In my opinion, I think with Josh being tutored at home, it's kept him on track for school. He wouldn't have completed school at all. So for Josh, this has been absolutely marvellous.
Without an alternative curriculum, I think it would have been very, very difficult for Josh to have been in school. Because for him, the week had to be broken up. There has to have had activities off-site as well as on-site. He needed time out of school, at work placement or college. We're lucky with Josh's placement because he's there with a furniture business.
Morning, Carol. What can I do to start off?
If you'd like to call our state, if he's got any electrical items that have been tested to be taken next door,
Yeah.
please.
Okay.
They understand Josh's needs. They understand a lad like Josh, and they've given him the chance. They've had ups and downs. There's been times when, he's been asked not to come back because such and such has happened, but they've given him another chance.
David, is there an electric cooker?
We haven't got any cookers in at the moment, unfortunately.
Okay. I found a TV table. When I go to work in the mornings, I just go out in the vans or stay in and collect and deliver furniture. It's given me more confidence because I've been working with older people, they've made me more mature, they've sorted me out really. I'm getting a reference from there. It's alright, it's working well. Hilary and Cheryl, they've both helped me at school and they've done really well for me, and I've got my head down, done everything, and I've got to work placement and stuff now. When I leave school, I hope I can get a job over the road at Canute, deliver and do stuff like that, and hopefully I can get my head down and sort myself out down there, so hope for the best in it really, just do what I can.
Part of the role of designated teacher for looked after youngsters is that you have to liaise with social work and usually a great number of outside agencies. That's why, fundamentally here, I have created a team of people to work round me. My role is assistant head teacher. I also have to teach, and therefore a vast majority of my day, the vast majority of my week is taken up with those sort of other aspects of my role.
I've done the legal paperwork.
My role is that of the named person for looked after children. I'm sort of the second in line really. And in that I work closely with the social workers, with the foster carers and with other agencies who actually are involved with those children who have looked after status.
Yeah, Nicola's going to come in tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 so that we can sit and go through Joshua's personal education plan. I've got the old one that was done last time, but it just needs updating in various places. And then I've got the new Part 3 for reviews to put in place, which looks at any attendance, exclusions, literacy numeracy and progress.
We're very fortunate. Technically, I've got oversight. Part of the senior leadership team, that's the legality of the situation. But in reality, you need someone whose time is dedicated purely to look after the needs of looked afters, as with other youngsters in need. That's really where the two jobs differ.
And we are able to sustain all these kids, because if we,
not many,
if we look at statistics for looked after children, they're forever moving from place to place.
Ideally, in every school, I would say you need both sorts of peers. One designated teacher cannot do all that is asked of them if they want to have that quality of provision. You need a team of people. You need to persuade people somewhere that there is a place for someone like Cheryl to actually enable you to feel quite, comfortable that yes, I think I am giving youngsters the best provision, the best start in life.
Oh, hi lads. You okay?
I think one of the hardest roles for a designated teacher when dealing with looked after children is actually explaining their situation to staff, or how their needs at some time or their behaviour at some time isn't as normal youngsters would be. I just thought we'd have a quick update on how the looked after youngsters are doing in your department. Any concerns?
We did have a few problems with Lee, as you know, and we extracted him out for his own and other people's safety within the workshop at the moment. We're trying to integrate him back in again.
Yes.
But he does have his moments, as you know.
Have you found that with the rotation, the carousel of sort of activity, is he better in some areas than others?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, he tends to have a problem with women, really.
Yes.
And so sometimes we just bring him out, and a lot of attention-seeking behaviour.
That's obviously part of his emotional background, as it were. That would be why.
Yeah.
You might have the situation where they go home at weekends to see their natural parents. They then come back to their placement. That in itself can be stressful. What's gone on over the weekend, say for example, then stays with them, and when they come into school on the Monday, they're not ready for the routine of a normal curriculum. Really? So you would get incidents occurring which can be blown up out of all proportion by other staff, but when you delve back, there's a perfectly good reason why that young person is behaving the way they are.
You've got a disruptive pupil.
I mean,
sometimes.
obviously, if we know something's gone off at the weekend, or if we know something's gone off, or the previous evening, we'll get a message to you, and maybe in some cases he wouldn't appear. I mean, we'd obviously let you know. So in many cases, it's convincing your colleague, explaining to them why maybe the sanction they suggest isn't appropriate. It's called trust, I think. The colleagues have got to trust you why you're acting in your way. If you've got that rapport, if you've got that understanding with your staff, rather than tell them this is what is going to happen, but explain to them and they trust you. And I think with that dialogue, things can happen a lot easier and maybe enable the young people to have a smoother course through school. I'm a mother of 2 daughters. I wanted the best for them. And in school, that's exactly what I do for these young people in my care. So I get more involved. I am more operational. I might not be doing all the little jobs on the outside. Other people in my team are doing that. But where I am is I'm in there and I want to know everything about them. And I want to make sure that they get the best that they can, as I would do, as any normal parent would do, the best for their child, their son or their daughter.